Good morning, Friday. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for all your views and likes and comments. I appreciate every single one of them. Genuinely I do. Now, this roof, yeah, it's been bugging me. It's still bugging me. I hate it. Absolutely hate it. And I think some of you do, because the likes are a little low for the numbers on the video. That rhymes. Who knew it? Poet? No. Right. Solutions to the problem. I have one. I only have one. Actually does two things, this solution. It lightens it and it repairs it. Back half went alright. It's just that naffing front half that didn't. So we're going to cut all of that rotten crap out right up to the end, all the way along. We've got a bar inside that is causing some of the problems. You can see that one up there. So we're going to cut back to that bar. I may keep the bar and tack weld the tin to the bar using G-clamps. I can't help the fact that this one has dropped a little in the middle, and that has also been part of my problem. Can't do anything with it now. I've riveted all that aluminium in place. That's now sealed. So what I'm going to do, I've got a little bit of alley left over. I've got to do the other walls on the other side, so I've got to cut a piece of that off. I'll see what's left after that, because I know it's not a full length. It's about 1 inch short of being a full length. In fact, now that I've just said that, we might have a full length, because if I leave 2 inches that end and 2 inches that end, we might have enough to do a full length. So we can cut literally along that line there, hammer that out to the shape we want, and then get my jobbler and put a recess all the way around on the tin, and then we can run that through the bead roller once we've cut a piece to length, put ribs in it, but not lengthways, because that causes the aluminium to buckle up, but widthways, so we go across. That'll put strengtheners in. It can still be bent very easily, and then we can rivet that down. And we have taken quite a significant amount of weight off the roof, and we've added some aluminium. Now Land Rovers are made of aluminium, so some people are thinking, well, why are you riveting? I've had this question asked, why are you riveting? You're losing all the strength, I suspect. Well, the thing is, Land Rovers are only pot riveted and spot welded, so if it works with Land Rover and they don't have substantial steel struts inside, then surely mine is going to work even better. The downside is I'm a little bit heavier than a Land Rover top end because of all the metal. So if we can get rid of some of that, even better. That's my answer to it. So that's what we're going to do. So tomorrow, not today, tomorrow morning, I'm going to shoot down the yard. I'm going to sharpen up a really sharp chisel, cold chisel. I'm going to make it into a real sharp bugger. I'm going to take my big hammer and my lad, and we are going to cut one singular length big enough to do the other side. So today I'm going to cut another section out, see what I've got left over, you see, so I can get that other wall done. I'm going to get that done today, and then tomorrow we'll get the aluminium cut. We'll burn out all that metal that we don't want, bin it, and we'll go to work in the shed and start shaping a new piece to go over the top. But first, we've got to get that done. Already measured and cut. Now I've got to go in the shed, do some bead rolling. It's important. Got to stay smack bang on that line. There you go, there's the first one, and we did manage to straighten that line up, whichever one it was that was bent, because they're both straight, and I can't remember. There you go, that's actually come out better than the other side did. There we go. So we'll give this a quick wire brush back to get rid of all the muck that was left on from the previous build, and we'll mark out the next one and we'll put that through the bead roller. Little red dot on. I need to replace that. Being a problem. What's the point of spending all that money on light and then having a naked one in there? Cool. Okay, so I think there's a well up there. It's okay down here. Went a little bit off there. See where I went over it to try and straighten it, which I managed to succeed to a point. It'll do. It's not perfect, but then the whole car's not perfect. I think we're entitled to a few little cock-ups here and there. I'd rather we didn't have them, but it is what it is. They will go in like so. And the sun is completely in the way. There you go. Now they need riveting in. There you go. Now has an overlap. So now that one is ready, we now need to do an underlap on the other one. Bloody hell, I need to get my eyesight tested. Oh, that is really bad. Oh. Whoopsie. Yeah. Okay, well I'm not going to do anything about it yet, but what I'm going to have to do at a later date, whenever, drill all them rivets out, oh brother, get a heat, blowtorch, heat it all up so I can strip it without buggering everything up, and I'm going to have to put it through the English wheel, flatten all of that bead rolling out, redraw it and redo it. Good grief, that is horrendous. Good afternoon, Monday. We've cut out 2 pieces of alley, excuse me, to make the upper inserts to try and get some shape back. But I'm going to be honest with you, I did this on the English wheel, but I didn't have enough room in the shed to be able to walk the full length of that aluminium backwards and forwards, so it came out a little bit uneven, and for that reason alone I think we're going to abandon this idea. And what we're going to do instead is, my original plan is put a cut along there, hammer that piece of metal out so I've got that shape flowing, do the same roughly to about here and try and bang that out as best as possible, and push that centerpiece in so it's flat all the way, and then we'll put 2 metal inserts in like that, weld them in, and in the shed there's some perspex. I'll cut out a window out of perspex. Using this last piece we'll try and make a window frame for it so we can glue and screw that in, and then, and we might do this tomorrow, is we're going to get some 3-inch 4-inch flat plate to do the arches. At the same time I might get some hollow small tubing, and to get that line back all the way across we'll run tubing across as a guard for the window like you would on a headlight or something. That way the eye sees the tubing, not the window, and not the messed up shape. Okay, I totally did the opposite of what I said I was going to do. So I plasma cut a hole out in that roof in the end to relieve it. I hammered out as much metal as I could, probably to the dismay of everybody because it was really noisy, and I cut a piece of that alley out. Now that piece that was down here that I bent up was overbent, but the centerpiece seemed to be enough for what I needed to do up there. So I then put a bead roll around it as best as I could do it, and what I am now going to do is put a load of self-tap screws in very carefully, as many as I can get. Then I'm going to pull them all out, then I'll get the welder out, weld up some of the holes that I've made, and then grind back, and then put screws with sealant back in. But you can see, look, got a few more cuts to sort out because didn't quite make it. Could really do with going a little higher up actually, looking at that. There you go. The ratchets are this side, so it's pulled it down a bit. Poop. Well, best I can do. Whether I keep the bolts or it definitely helps the shape without any issues, but well, loads of issues. But that's the best I can come up with. Well, I'm not going to call this a rat rod anymore. I think I'm going to call this a bodge rod. Oh dear, that plate is terrible, but it's on. It's got the shape back a little bit. We've got the gutter in place and we've managed to join it up on the back. Let's just hope we can do the same on the other side, because at the moment I just don't know. Morning guys, it's a new day. It's a blooming cold new day. I'm very pleased with that gutter. Very pleased with it, but I absolutely hate that bloody plate. I've worked my butt off to get it as good as it is. I mean, obviously it's not perfect. Must have been close to -3 last night because that cold weather has been in the air all day. Anyway, I set a goal today of making one tool and repairing said metal. said metal didn't quite go to plan. It's all warped, gone out of shape. I've still yet to weld some plating behind, and one of the other things that occurred, which has really angered me, is somewhere on one of these panels, where is it? There. Got a split there, and probably a split under there somewhere, I don't know. I had to double bead roll these in the end because I was so warped, I just couldn't get the warp out, because you need to stretch the metal when you're doing this sort of thing, and shrink it, and where it's stretched you need to put the beads in to try and pull it back, and unfortunately it didn't work. Friggin' things, I tell you. I haven't sealed it in either because, look, at the end of the day there's wood going on the outside of that anyhow, which we've as yet to achieve, but at least the lines are a lot better than what they were. I can hide a lot of those marks up with a wire wheel if I run over it, and then we can bed line. So I'll probably put the wood in first, sand it all back while the metal is in place with no paint on, and then I'll take the wood off, seal up behind, wire brush all of that back, put the wood on after it's been lacquered, mask it up a few days later, and believe me, it will take a few days, and then we can bedline all of that, which will hide a lot of sins. Now, there is a mistake made in this one, unlike the other one. I am not going to tell you where it is. I want to see if you can spot it. Some of you keen-eyed people will probably see it straight away. So we'll do that side, and then we'll wander over onto this side and show you what it should look like. If you don't notice it, i.e. no comments, means I got away with it. Now look, don't think you're being kind by spotting it and not saying. You'd be that was not being kind. Spotting it and saying is being kind, because then I know at a later date I'll have to sort this problem out, and the only way I can do that is to replace the alley. I had to reuse it because that's all there is. There is no more. I wasted a decent bit on that roof on the other side, which I now wished I didn't. So I didn't have any spare to play around with. So that's that. Tomorrow, if I don't do it tonight, we'll get that tool made. Tomorrow I plan on putting a plasma cut straight across all the way along to there, and then I'm going to put my new tool in, and I'm going to push that metal out, and then I'm going to pick a hammer up and I'm going to hammer the hell out of that, and then I'll put in the missing piece ready for car filler on top. That can't stay, that metal like that. It's just not good enough for me. I don't like it. So that's the end of this day. Why are we Tuesday? Tomorrow is Wednesday. Right, it's Thursday today. We're going to get that plate removed. I really don't like it, and it's not staying. As we have made that tool that we spoke about, which is there, we are actually, I'm going to try and get rid of that brace on the roof so I've got a bit more room to move around in, and then we'll make that plate up and try and get that shape back by welding a new plate in place. That's kind of where my head's going with it, and then we can grind the welds back, and a later date car filler over the top, because it'll only be a small skim. This was yesterday's progress. Can't say I'm over the moon with it. I got the line all wrong. That should have started its slope to there, and then I should have, but there you go. Anyway, we did say in the last video that this week is all about flaws, but that's took me so long to repair and backtrack everything that went wrong that that's now like one day away from upload on the video. So what if I can get that done today without mucking around too much? What I might try and do is cap off those plates there in anticipation of the new floor, and any scrap angle lying around will brace the floor up over there, because obviously we need to do that. Yeah, that's about all I can do at the moment, if I'm honest. But I wished I'd have used that tool the first time and I wouldn't have to cut this ratty bit of metal out, but the damage is done. So an update, the tool I made is propping up. You see how that works, can't you? I'm quite pleased with that, actually. It really does do a good job. So the plan is, we've drawn that line that surrounds the outside. We're going to cut as close to that edge as possible. We're going to jobler a mark all the way around. We're going to grind back the metal on the truck itself just to get it a bit neater, and then with the tool we'll push it up, ratchet strap down, so we can get full tension and get evenness. The tool heads, the tool I've got, I'm going to extend that pipe so it comes all the way back further, so we can get full pressure on the whole thing, so it goes up even and level. And then, as I say, we'll pressure that up, we'll ratchet strap down. Now I've taken out, that's what I just tripped over actually, the bar that went through the middle. That's now gone. That was never permanent. That was always meant to be removed. I always meant to leave the top one in place, but I'm looking at the way that's sitting and I'm thinking maybe I don't even need that. May cause me more aggro than it's worth, but there you go. So that's what I've done so far anyway. What I was thinking of doing was running some ribs across, actually getting some steel that's left over, running it through the bead line roller, and then tack welding it in with spots. I mean, that would be a way to go with it. Nice and light, strong, and can crumple if an accident was to occur, instead of plainly just snapping off and banging through our heads. That probably would be the better route for this. But anyway, so I'm just going to have a cup of coffee, and then I'll take the plate out and trim it up with a grinder, and then get the sander, clean that hole up, and then pop the whole lot back in, by which point I'm hoping my kid is back, because I need his help. There's the plate. It looks a lot better. I would like to grind that down, but I can't because of the noise levels, so at the moment that's just going to have to stay like it, and I'll wait till everybody's gone. I am a bit knackered anyway, and I only wanted to get that done. There was holes to be drilled in the roof and more rivets to go in, but alas, that ain't going to happen. Not this week anyway. So I can quietly get on with some of the stuff in the shed. I mean, we can definitely cut metal in the shed, weld it in place. So next week will be a lot quieter. We've got to start the day though, or start the week grinding that down, because it does need doing. End of story on it. So at some point it's got to be done. And that's kind of where I'm at. So that is it for the week. Until Monday, possibly. So I'd like to say thank you very much for all your time and all your shares, all the like buttons you pressed, the comments that you leave. I'm trying to get it done as quick as I can with as less fuss as possible, but as you probably can understand, there's just some people that won't leave you alone, and that's just the way it is. So we'll see you Monday hopefully, and hopefully we can continue. See where we end up. Bye bye.